Okay, there we go. Okay, sorry if you guys hear the fan in the background. I really can't get past that right now. But I just wanted to give my thoughts about this Godzilla anime that's on Netflix. Godzilla Singular Point review. So the Godzilla anime has been out on Netflix for a while, and with the time I wanted to gather my thoughts about it. The show took me a while to finish, as the story is hard to follow, and honestly, really hard to get into. This review will cover some spoilers, so if you don't want any for the sake of willing to watch the video, you can skip this one. My first thought, as this didn't really need to be called Godzilla Singular Point, I consider it just Singular Point because Godzilla is hardly in the show at all. With a total of 12 episodes, he appears about 9 or 8, around 9 or 8 at best. That more than halfway in the anime itself doesn't keep you invested with the story. Even before that, the animation was nice for the characters, but for the monsters themselves, the kaijus, they seem really off, and almost felt like it was a crossover episode the whole time. Few will not mind the mashup of 2D animation and the CGI, but for me, the CGI was really not it. CGI was really not it this time. Not only are those points clear at the beginning of the show, it's all over the place. The story is all over the place. I can see what they were going for when leading into the sci-fi aspect of the show, making the two main characters smart enough to follow. But for the audience, for the viewer of the show, not really. The story was definitely not there like that. Making the two main characters talk about the singular points, the monsters, the red dust, the kaiju, and the effects of what the future is to come for this world. This just comes into a weird mashup, and I really think if they kind of redrew everything and really thought about this out, they could have done this a little more better. Honestly, the only thing the show really kept me interested in is seeing Godzilla himself, but after waiting for what feels like forever to even hear a mention of the character, the viewers would just be turned away from this, not gonna lie. As someone who was just trying to follow the story as well, and would follow everything plot-wise, it was still confusing. Let's say, to put the story in like a simple way I can say, kind of without giving anything, but trying not to be confusing at the same time. To put the story in simple words, there was a scientist that discovered the realm of the singular points and the red dust, which gave birth to a new material called archetypes. Though there's more detail to that into the show, but it's hard to explain because I don't understand the concept of it too much. But basically, at the beginning, it's Yun, and you have this group that sends him out to investigate a strange song being broadcasted from this old mansion. It comes to mind that May is also hearing this song. May is another young scientist that she was kind of sent there as to investigate the building. Something it's weird. Someone sent her there. I remember, I forgot who exactly. But basically, Young and May were hearing the song at the same time. I had no clue where it was coming from or where it was getting broadcasted from. So they find out that it's being broadcasted from the building May is in, but May doesn't actually know where is he coming from there too, because it's like an older building, and since the people who runs it now didn't really know who made it or what was going on, that kind of threw me off a little bit. You come to find out there's more secrets into the basement, as there's a giant kaiju skull or kaiju remains down below. Even the manager doesn't know how it got there. It's just there. Mystery to be solved. Was it Godzilla? Was it someone before him or whatever? They don't really make that clear until shows later in episode. But even then, they still don't. What was I say about it? Throughout the show, Yun and his group, who created the robot Jaguar, which has the main fighting points of the show, were fighting the monsters. I didn't like Jaguar design too much. I tried to towards like the end of the episodes and everything. I see where they were going for with it, but it just looked fairly weird to me. It did work with the CGI for the monsters a little bit, but you guys had to see CGI for the monsters. They were not it. They definitely were not it. But basically, it's up to Young, Jaguar, and May to kind of solve the puzzle and stopping the world from falling into ruin because of the monsters. They are basically just terrorizing everyone towards the end, which doesn't feel like that at first. In the beginning, they're just kind of chilling, they're scoping out the area and everything. But when Godzilla comes around like 8 or 9 episodes, it's like, okay, we gotta do something about this. It's getting crazy. It's definitely getting crazy. But overall, I would say if you're intrigued by a sci-fi look into the Godzilla, you can check this out. But if you're just casually watching something on Netflix and want to check it out, just hard pass it. Just hard pass it. You'll be sitting there confused. You won't like the character design of the kaijus. And honestly, this isn't a really good take into the Godzilla again. They tried to do what they can for Netflix for it, but honestly, I think that they need to leave it alone for a little while and just kind of branch away from this. If this show was just called Singular Point and you had no mention of Godzilla at all, I still wouldn't have liked it as much, but I can see that being its own thing. You know, it doesn't really need to have the Godzilla in it at all, if at all, because the heel wasn't there. But I don't know what you guys think about it. Have you guys checked out Singular Point? Did you guys